here's my note card and my 3 adult audience members. Now imagine your child comes up to you and says he wants to go to the skate park. So you tell him to go get his socks and skates on and you can go. He brings 5 pairs of socks in and asks you to help him try them on. So you try on each sock individually, one by one, and then you fix it, make sure it's just right, and he's finally happy. This goes on for about 10 or 20 minutes. However, 5 minutes later, he comes back and says they hurt. He wants a new pair of socks. So you try more on, one by one, fix them, make sure they're just right, and he's finally happy again. This routine goes on for about an hour or 2 hours. Most of you may be laughing, thinking, my child doesn't do that. He just finds some socks, gets his shoes on, and is ready to go. However, this is an example of a common problem that families dealing with autism have to deal with every single day. When looking at the family dealing with autism, it is important to look at each person's individual point of view to understand the family as a whole. First, we must define what autism is. According to autismspeaks.org, autism spectrum disorder and autism are both general terms for a group of complex disorders of brain development. These disorders are characterized, varying in degrees, by difficulties in social interaction, verbal and nonverbal communication, and repetitive behaviors. Over 3.5 million Americans today are currently diagnosed with autism or some degree of it, and that doesn't include millions more around the world. So clearly, this is an issue that needs to be addressed. When looking at the family, we first need to start with those who are closest to the child, the parents. When asked what the most difficult part of raising an autistic child would be, parents answered that the constant routines and helping the child adjust to unfamiliar situations would be the most difficult part. By routines, I do not mean when we wake up in the morning, brush our teeth, take a shower, and go to work. By routines, I mean when everything has to be done down to the minute. So, 30 minutes in the shower, 10 minutes drying off, and then another 30 minutes getting dressed because they want to make sure they find the right thing to wear. When it comes to dealing with unfamiliar situations, an example of this would be taking your child into public where there are a lot more people than they're used to. This can cause a child to react in anger, violence, laughter, or even sadness because they are not able to adjust to situations like you and I. Although most parents believe that if they did not have to deal with autism, their lives would be a lot less stressful, they do, in fact, learn a lot, such as patience and understanding for those who have to deal with similar situations. Although autism has a great effect on parents, it can also be very stressful for the siblings of the child. When asked what the most difficult part of growing up with an autistic sibling would be, a younger brother answered that it is hard to look at normal families and feel as though you are missing out on activities, family outings, and things of that sort because your family always has to cater to what the autistic child needs. It is also hard for autistic siblings to connect with their normal siblings. This is due to the fact that a lot of times they are not on the same wavelengths and cannot understand things the same way. So if you try to play a game with them, it is sometimes harder for them to understand the rules or how to play, which can be very frustrating for everyone involved. Although a lot of people look outside into the family and think that parents give a lot more attention to those who are autistic than those who aren't, many siblings have expressed that they do not feel any less love or caring from the parents because they are able to understand that this child needs a lot more attention than everyone else. Although the immediate family is greatly affected, we also need to look at those outside the immediate family. First, we'll start with the grandparents. Due to the fact that grandparents are not around the child 24/7 like everyone else, it is hard to take them in public because it is hard to anticipate when they may have a meltdown. By having a meltdown, I mean when they're in public and they don't agree with something you say and start to throw a temper tantrum. This can cause others around them to get angry and tell them they are not disciplining the child enough. Grandparents have often expressed that they wish these people would educate themselves on how difficult it really is to take care of an autistic child because it is a lot different to discipline a child with autism than to discipline a normal child because they do not think the same way most people do. Teachers also have to take unique methods when teaching an autistic child. Being a teacher of an autistic child myself, I often find that I have to find unique viewpoints to teach the child from in order to teach a specific skill. It is also important to teach more of life skills versus 2 plus 2, because life skills are what the child really needs so they can take care of themselves day to day. I have gained more patience from this, and I often feel a lot more love from the child because I am there as a friend, and I often feel I get more back from them than I actually give. Although most families dealing with autism go through their own unique stressors and difficulties, they all have one thing in common: love. Autistic children are some of the most loving and caring human beings you will ever meet. And they will always be there for you and a friend you can rely on. Whether you are around autism every day or have never met an autistic child in your life, it is always important to have compassion, understanding, and educate yourselves about these things, because those children will give you nothing less. Thank you.